Hi, Armoured Pants here, and I have another video for you in the British line, taking you to Tier 4, this time to the Tank Destroyer, the alternative to the Matilda, the Alecto. And we have a complete guide, and as always we look at the tech spec in blitzhanger.com. However, before we go into that, I would ask you, please watch the Beginner's Tank Destroyer guide, which is also on channel, and there's a link in the description. The reason being that Tank Destroyers have a completely different game style and play to anything you've played heretofore, coming up through the ranks. So please watch that guide. There's a lot of information in there that will really help you and stop you making a lot of mistakes and really get some value for money when you're playing Tank Destroyers. Now, looking at the Alecto has 430 hit points. It has a range of shell options: AP, APC or HE. Just to recap on those, AP is your standard round, APCR is armor piercing composite round, and this is required for tanks that have thick armor that you need to go through. And then of course there's HE, which does the most damage but has the least penetration. Now this tank is an Origami tank. It has 0 armor. In actuality, it's not really a tank, it's more a self-propelled gun, and the armor was designed really just for small arms fire. It will not stop a round from anything on the battlefield. You are going to get penned by everything. We look here, it doesn't matter if it's tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, everything is penning you. You're basically a shell magnet. The other thing you have to be aware of in this tank is that when you come to tier 4, many of the tanks that you will face have high explosive rounds. As we just said a few minutes ago, high explosive rounds, HE rounds, have the lowest penetration but do the most amount of damage. What does that mean for you? Well, it means that they will pen you regardless of whether you're front on, side or back, and they will do massive damage to you. You are going to be a shell magnet and the enemy will be spamming HE at you, particularly players who know what they're doing, who maybe watch these videos and understand how shell dynamics work. They're going to be spamming, that means firing a lot of HE at you, and this is going to really hurt you. Now just looking at the shells here, as we said, APCR is well, it's not really APCR here, it's a premium AP round, but effectively works the same as APCR. This basically is your premium round, and it should be used only when you're trying to face onto tanks that have very thick armor and you see a red target in front of you. Open your ammo selector and switch to your premium AP round. Now, I spoke about people firing HE at you. A 75mm gun will do up to 250 damage points to you. Just think about that. That's 60% of your total hit points. So you really need to be aware of that, and you really need to stay out of trouble in this tank. Whatever its benefits, well, it does have a big gun that will do nice alpha rolls for you, but it has very low muzzle velocity, so it is going to the gun handling is pretty bad. You need to be aware of that, but it is fast. And you can see here now I'm moving to support the team. The team all decide to go another way, so I have to go with them. Why? Well, because this tank is a tank that you cannot be isolated in, because you're just going to die very quickly. As I said, you can be two-shotted by most things in tier 4, and if you're up tiered and a KV1 or something fires a HE round at you, he can actually one-shot you. So you have a very short lifespan indeed. So no YOLO. YOLO is you only live once, and it refers to people going off on their own in the map. This is a tank that you cannot be separated from your allies in. Now, as you saw though, the tank is fast, and I am going to use the speed of the tank to put in a round and get out of trouble. Now, unfortunately, this Hetzer here it doesn't really know what he's doing, and he does his very best to get me killed. He is in effect maybe even playing for the Reds. Again, he stopped my retreat. Again, I pull out, fire, and I'm trying to use the speed of my tank to get out of trouble. No, he blocks me again. And let's just take a time out here for a second. Please, guys, be aware of your teammates, the tanks they're in, and what they're trying to do. Do not block their retreats. If you do, you will lead to them receiving huge amounts of damage and maybe dying. And this will affect you too, because if you lose a teammate, you're more likely to lose the game. We spoke about game philosophy before. Simple way to look at the game is when the total accumulated amount of your hit points for the team reaches 0, your team loses. So therefore, all hit points that are lost, not just from you but from your teammates, are contributing towards you moving towards losing the game. Conversely, when the total accumulated hit points of the red team reaches 0, you win. So therefore allowing your teammates to put in shots, not blocking their shots, not driving across them when they're shooting, all contributes towards you winning the game. Now again, this Hetzer, he's totally unaware of everybody around him. He's driven up, he's blocking not just me but several other of his teammates, taking out that Matilda, and he's just receiving damage while not doing anything to the Hetzer, not doing anything to the Matilda, and leaving us to unable to take out that Matilda. So again, please be aware of your teammates around you. Now you saw there an example of the poor gun handling of this. It has a very low muzzle velocity, and therefore its gun handling is pretty poor. So you really need to take careful aim in this thing. If you're firing over distance, you really need to be aware of its slow muzzle velocity, low muzzle velocity, its slow shell trajectory, particularly if you're doing deflection shooting. If you don't know what deflection shooting is, we have a detailed description of it in the TD guide, the beginner's TD guide. So please, again, I emphasize, watch that. Now, what am I doing here? Well, I am using the speed of the tank because the tank is agile, and I'm using the terrain here, these hills, to effectively give me armor in inverted commas, basically to use that as protection, because the tank can move backwards, forwards, and traverse very quickly. So I'm using that agility to effectively give myself an advantage here. So be aware of that. The tank is agile, and it will allow you to get in and out of trouble very quickly. So that is maybe the only real advantage it has in terms of avoiding receiving damage. Now we are 6v2, so we've got a very favourable situation. I'd like to draw your attention to this shot here. Initially it looks like I didn't do any damage, but that's not true. I did hit him, I just didn't do any damage points. But you saw I blew out a module, I got a knockdown badge. So therefore you can, and this is something that happens quite often in the game, you will hit a tank, you will do some damage to them in terms of taking out modules, killing the crew or injuring the crew, but actually no damage points, but you still get experience and XP for that. So just be aware of that and look at your ribbons and see what's going on. Now I wanted you to take note here of the speed of the Alecto. Look at this, from standstill, look at the acceleration of this tank. It is really fast. I'm going hell for leather here because I think there's a possibility that the last red is AFK because I haven't seen him anywhere in the map during the game. So I'm going hell for leather to see if I can spot him up and put some more damage into him. This is a very important aspect of this tank because you will need to run away quite often with this tank if you see enemy reds pushing onto you. And please watch the SU-85B game. I also have uploaded here the review of that tank. You will see I also used run away in that tank. I used the speed of that tank. We get a bit of luck here with the AFK, but I suspected he was there because I hadn't seen him anywhere on the mini-map or on the map during the game. So game over. But please note the speed of this tank and the acceleration. It's basically its only real asset for getting out of trouble, and if you see reds pushing onto you, do not be afraid to run away. As I said in the other video, it's better off being an alive coward than a dead hero. And in this tank, if you stay around, particularly if there's heavy tanks or tanks with armour pushing onto you, you will die because you've got a slow rate of fire and you've got no armour whatsoever. So don't be afraid to use the only real asset you have in terms of combat, the speed of a tank, to get the hell out of dodge, save yourself, relocate, take up a sniping position, and start putting some damage in. And there's nothing wrong with running away. As I said, it's better off to be an alive coward than a dead hero. So there you saw the game. I got a mastery badge, I got a high caliber, and I got Confederate because I damaged a lot of tanks and helped my team. A bit of a carry for me as well. I did twice as much damage, over twice as much damage as the next guy there. And another lesson, as I just said, please guys, be aware of your teammates. Don't do what the Hetzer did there. He could quite easily have gotten me killed if there was, let's say, a tank with a 75mm gun with a HE round loaded. He could have easily gotten me killed and then we probably would have lost that game. This is an SPG, it's not a tank, so let's look at the recap here. It is fast, that's about its only asset, but you can get around the map pretty quickly. It is a 100% support vehicle, so you need to base your play on what the team does. You cannot go off on your own, you cannot dictate play yourself. Absolutely zero armor. It's an origami tank, it may as well be made of paper, so you really need to stay out of trouble. You will be two-shotted by most tanks with HE rounds in your own tier, and one-shotted by something like a KV if you're up-tiered. You have very low muzzle velocity, which gives you poor gun handling. So you need to be aware of that. You really need to make your shots count and carefully aim. Deflection shooting in this thing is very difficult. If you don't know what that is, again, as I said, please watch the TD Beginner's Guide, and there's a link in the description here. Aiming is maiming, as we always say, and that really is the key to this tank, because you need to make your shots count, and the gun handling is terrible. So really take your time on your shots, and use the speed of your tank as your armor, because that's all you have. And as I said, do not be afraid to run away. There's nothing wrong with that. Keeping your gun in the game is a really important skill and important lesson to learn. Next up in this line is the AT2, which is a completely different tank. Also a tank destroyer, but completely different play style. There's a complete guide in here, but please take your time getting there and get proficient with this tank before moving up to a higher tier. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Cheers, Mush. Take it easy, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks very much, guys. Take care. Bye.